Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I've not said that for so long. Today's video is going to be an Eid makeup tutorial. I filmed everything basically on TikTok. But TikTok I've got rid of the 10-minute feature and I can't be bothered to be rushing and to be trying to fit a whole tutorial into 3 minutes. So I thought I would film a YouTube video as well. So we're just going to get straight into it. Of course, the first step is always skin prep, skin prep, skin prep. The best way to prep your skin is first of all, do your skincare routine. If you have quite a good skincare routine, very hydrating, nourishing, and your skin, you know if your skincare routine is basically good enough skin prep, you can just go in with that and then move on to your primers. If you don't, I wouldn't suggest buying a whole skincare routine just for makeup prep. I would suggest at least just one serum or one product that is like a skin prep product that kind of cuts the whole process down. So for example, the two that I like, the MAC Hyper Real Serumizer or the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream, and both of these leave your skin feeling ready. Like when you put it on, you can feel, okay, my skin feels hydrated. It's a good base for makeup to go on. Once you've completed your skin prep, you can then move on to primers. Also, I'm filming the TikTok and this YouTube video at the same time. I don't have the time or the patience to film two separate videos. When I'm filming the TikTok and I'm looking at my phone, you're just going to see me looking and talking to the phone, and then obviously when I want to chat a bit more in depth about what I'm doing or whatever, I'll look back at the camera. I can't film two separate videos of the same thing. I just can't do that. So moving on to primers, my OG primer combination were these two. If you follow me on my TikTok, you know these two. So I would typically go in with the iconic Underglow Blurring Primer in the perimeter of my face and the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer in my smile lines and where my pores are. I haven't been reaching for these two as much recently because I've been using... So these two e.l.f. primers, I've been really enjoying them together. This is the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. So I kind of put this, I concentrate it here and in my smile line, so it's similar areas. But I kind of extend it a little bit as well. But the majority is here, the focus is here. And then I use the Good Vibes Only Soft Velvet Primer, also by e.l.f. kind of on top, but I avoid, I don't know, it's weird because this is like a, I don't know if it's actually got silicone in it, but this gives me like more of a silicone primer vibe. It's like very smooth and it is literally velvety. Whereas this is like a sticky grip primer, so you wouldn't think to use them together, but I actually do enjoy them together. And it doesn't mess up my foundation base, so yeah, I feel like they're safe to use together. So for this tutorial, I'm going to use these two, and I think for Eid, I will probably wear these two. I use about that much, and I just place it here. I don't just keep it here, I just concentrate it in the center, but once I've placed it exactly where I want it, I then just spread it everywhere else. And it's very interesting because this is, I guess, a dupe for the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. And I did like the Hydro Grip Primer, but I feel like I had to really make it work. So what would happen is I'd apply it and it was weird, like my makeup. So say I've applied it, I wouldn't apply it here, for example, but the makeup would kind of like stick to the boundaries of where the primer is, and you would literally see an outline where the primer ends and then my skincare begins, and it was just really weird. And I'd have to be really careful, like every time I do my makeup I'm like praying, please don't do that again, please don't do it again. I don't have time for that. So because of that, I would never reach for it. But when it did work, I did like it. So it's just weird that this is basically the same thing, but it's a dupe and it doesn't do that. So now time to go in with the Soft Velvet Primer. I use about this much, and again I just place it here and in my smile lines, concentrate it there, and then I move it to where it hasn't been. And although the Soft Velvet Primer is more silicone-y and the Hydro Grip is more sticky, they just work really well together. So starting off with the base, I'm going to go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter first, and you can see where I've applied it. This is clearly not my skin tone. I don't know, like I have the Collection Filter Finish, and that's not my skin tone either. Maybe they just don't have one from my skin, but I like to use this one. Even though it does look very orange, it blends out quite sheer. And yeah, it just gives me a bit more warmth. I concentrate in the areas where I have a bit more darkness just to help counteract it a little bit. I do actually have colour correctors, which is interesting, but I'm going to do a separate video for that. Ulla Hendrickson actually sent me some of their colour correctors. They've got 3 shades, pumpkin, apricot and banana, and I have tested pumpkin out. So pumpkin's the darkest one, and it's this proper orange shade. I've tested it out and I really do like it. I've used it on my under eye and my top lip and where I've got dark marks. I've colour corrected before in the past, but I haven't stuck with it because I find it annoying, the colours mixing. but this I feel like didn't, and my concealer didn't go orange. So I do like this, but I will do a separate video talking about this. And then what I like to do is basically make a concoction on my face. So I'll put my whatever glowy products I want underneath, and then I'll go with my foundation. The two foundations I've been loving together as a combination are these two, the Estee Lauder Double Wear and then the NARS Natural Radiant Long Wear foundation. Just a bit of each. I love them. This is very long wearing, flawless finish, full coverage, and then this is also that as well, but it gives, I don't know, it just makes my skin look very smooth, and both of them together I love. It doesn't give me that like foundation cake face, it just gives my skin better. So what I'll do is I'll just put some of the Double Wear on the back of my hand, not too much though, because less is always more. About that much, that's even too much to be honest. And then I take less than a pump of the Natural Radiant Long Wear, you can just see in the corner there, and then I literally mix them together, that's even too much, and apply. Look at that match, look at that texture. Right, I really like to spread it out really nicely on my skin before I blend it out. I need one of those makeup spatulas, like so bad, because this would make this process a lot easier and a lot neater. I really hate having like foundation on my fingers after. Should blend it out as much as I can before I go in with my spray. You can see it's like semi-blended already, so I don't have areas that are like too, I don't know what I was trying to say there. Basically this just ensures you don't use too much makeup, because I think using too much foundation is a major hindrance to how flawless it looks. Less is always more. And then I like to go in with this Milano Make It Last setting spray. I use any mattifying or long lasting setting spray in the in-between steps to increase the longevity of my makeup. It doesn't make my makeup matte, but it does make it last. So just fan it a bit. You don't want your skin to be too wet when you blend it out, because the product's going to slide all over your face. It might start separating, and we don't want that. And now time to blend, and because we've already blended it out really nicely, there's not much blending that needs to be done, and it makes it a lot more seamless. Look at that. Literally looks like my skin, but better. When I'm blending, I want to concentrate on the lower half of my face and not take too much product up around my under eye, because there's no point. We're going to put concealer there, we don't want to encourage creasing. See how nicely that's blending out. I don't wear foundation on my forehead because I don't show much on my forehead, and my skin tone is basically the same. But if you were showing your forehead, or you know your skin tone is different, you want to even out your complexion, I wouldn't put foundation directly on there. I would just kind of take the residue, or I take like a little bit off the back of my hand and blend it out. But you want to keep foundation on your forehead quite minimal, because I feel like it looks better that way. These two concealers, my Kevyn Aucoin has always been a staple, but I've been loving the NARS, what is this called, Soft Matte Complete Concealer with it. This is in the lighter shade, so this is what gives me the brightness. Take my brush, I start with the Kevyn Aucoin on my brush, and I just place it here. And again, with this concealer, a little goes a very long way because it's so full coverage. And I'm not going back in with more concealer, I'm just spreading it out basically. And then with my NARS, and I just go over the top of where I want some brightness. So I focus it on the center of my under eye, a little bit on the outside, tiny bit here, a little bit there, and a little bit there. And then I blend this all out. If I really need my makeup to last all day, I'll go in with my setting spray again, but these days I haven't felt like I needed it, so I'm just going to blend this out. Using my Morphe V105 brush. This brush is very compact, so it keeps the concealer exactly where you want it. If you want a tutorial on how I do my under eye, have a look on my page because I've got one there. I used these two for the first time in an ad that I was doing for Studio London, and yeah, these are definitely in my top two, like as a combination for blush and highlight. I was really shocked, not because I expected them to be bad, but for the price especially. I think this was like, I'm sure they were both £5 or under, and for the quality, you'll see anyway in a minute. So I just go in with my blush. I use a flat brush like this, and then what I like to do is put some of the eyeshadow pigment on the back of my hand, place it on my cheek, and then blend it out. And I concentrate it on the outermost portion of my cheekbone, and then bring it closer to this area. You can see how it's really easy to build the colour, and it just looks gorgeous. So washed out. I'll just put some of the eyeshadow pigment on the back of my hand, and just look at that. Like, that's amazing. Sorry. And I just dot it on my cheek on top of where I put my blush, and then I blend it out really quickly so it doesn't dry down. We're going to set down the eye first with the Huda Beauty setting powders. I like to use Banana Bread first and then Cherry Blossom Cake second. I don't know, there's something about it. The cherry blossom, the pink in it kind of softens the under. It's weird and it's very, very subtle, but I think it makes a difference. Just before I set the under eye, I've taken this really small brush and just blended out where my creases are, and I'm setting it with my Trigger powder puff, of course, the little one, and that's the motion I always do. I go up, across, and back down and onto my top lip. Do the same thing on the other side. So make sure when you dip it in, you're brushing it off and then patting it onto the lid and onto the back of the palm of your hand, so you don't have too much. Up, across, and back down, and that's what I like to do. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the, what's this called, Cherry Blossom Cake. And with Cherry Blossom Cake, I don't like to take too much because otherwise it looks, I don't know, start looking powdery and ashy, because this powder's quite full coverage. It's difficult to describe a powder as full coverage, but it's just like very heavy duty, like you can look cakey if you use too much. Next, I'm going to set not all of my face, but just the areas where I'm prone to smile lines or my makeup breaking up. So around here especially, and just a little bit in these areas. I'm going to use the MAC Studio Fix, what is it called, Pro Set and Blur powder, and I'm going to use the big Trigger powder puff. Again, put some on there and then pat it off and just set around here. I don't want to set too much because I still want the dewiness from the rest of my products, but I don't want my makeup to move. I can set my forehead a little bit as well. So now the face is set, I'm going to move on to my eyebrows. I'm going to use this Kosas Brow Pop Dual Action Defining Pencil. For me, my brows are just not a very big deal. I don't have to do much to them, so my brow product's not that important really. I actually used a brow pencil that was very like chocolatey brown and was clearly not the colour of my brows, because my brows are like black. But I really liked it. I don't know, it made my face look a lot softer, and I feel like it accentuated my eye colour, and it kind of made me want to like tint my brows or something. It's actually nice. I'm going to clean up my brows a little bit with the concealer brush that we used earlier, and again we want to use a very small amount because we don't need to use more. We don't want our brows to look cartoonish. And then I'm going to use this small brush to blend it out, blend out the edges so it's not harsh. For eyes, we're going to keep it simple. Do the eye look that I do every time. This eye look I think will go with every outfit that you wear. It's very easy to do and it looks like you spent a lot more time doing it. First, we're going to start off with the Too Faced Better Than Chocolate palette, and we're going to go into Cake My Day, just one of the browns. Just blend that into the crease. Doesn't have to be neat, and diffuse that out. Once you've got that, you want to take a smaller brush, go into the same shade but focus it more on the outer corner and just build that colour. And then now we're going to use the shade Brownie Points, which is a darker brown. We're going to keep it at the outermost corner and diffuse it a little bit across the lid, but not too far. Fluffy blending brush with nothing on it and just diffuse that all together. Okay, I think that is nice and subtle. Nice buns, this nude colour, and packing it on the lid with this flat brush. And again, this doesn't matter that much because there's going to be a shimmer that goes over the top of it. And make sure when you're packing it on, you're concentrating on the inner corner as well, because there tends to be less product placed there because it's a bit difficult to get in there. Of course, pack it on the lid, but also make sure that you put it just above the lid as well. So you should have like a nice nude eye that looks like this. Now I'm going to go into even lighter nude, this shade Buttercream, with a small brush, and I'm just going to get in the inner corner because I want that brightness. Now what I want to do is use the eyeshadow pigment again, massage it with my finger, and then start to apply it on the centre of my lid. It doesn't have to be neat at this point, but you want to focus it on the centre of the lid first before we start diffusing it everywhere else. You don't want too much on your finger, so just wipe off some excess, and we're going to blend it above, all the way up to our brow bone. Just gives a really nice effect when you move, like you can see the shimmer, and it just makes you look really glowy. Okay, so this is our base. We're now going to build on that with some powder shadow. The Charlotte Tilbury Hypnotizing Pop Shot. This is in the shade Rose Gold. And this is what it looks like. Really gorgeous colour. And just build it as you see fit. And again, once you've placed it on there, just diffuse it across the rest of your eye. And lastly, because I want more of a yellow gold, I'm going to go into the Too Faced Gold Digger on top to give it a bit more warmth. Now we're going to finish off the eye. Tight lining with the Huda Beauty Long Wear eye pencil. And also don't forget to get this bit here. And that's how your eyes should look. It just gives it a nice sultry look. And now for lashes. This is very important. And I found a pair of lashes that I think are perfect for when it's an occasion and you really want to like level up your makeup. They're in a similar style to the cat eye style that I usually go for because that's what I think suits my eye shape. But I think they're just a lot more dramatic. And it's these L Curl lashes, and they look very dramatic and low-key scary, but trust me, they look so good. You just have to trim them and make sure they fit your eye, and of course assess whether or not they suit your eye shape. For me, I think they do. That's why I love them on me. I'm gonna apply the lash glue and let it set. A tip to make, because these lashes I find them very fiddly and a bit difficult to put on, and I'm fine with putting lashes on, so especially if you struggle with putting on, you know, lashes generally, put the glue on the lash, but then also put glue on your lash line. Let it get tacky and it sticks so much better. To put glue on my lash line, I use this Kiss Lash Glue Liner pen. Mine's almost run out, so I need to get some more, but I find this combo really works. And these lashes can be very fiddly, and it took some getting used to for me to be able to actually put them on, but once you get the hang of it, it's worth it. I hate putting lashes on my left eye, it's so difficult. Use your applicator or your fingers and squeeze the lash together with your natural lash. Another thing with these lashes is they have a tendency to kind of lift or not stick out, but like the glue be really visible at the inner corner. So what I like to do is clean them before you put them on. I should have done that, but also just use mascara to blend it a little bit. I stopped using it for a while because it smashed and it was annoying to use, but the colour is just gorgeous. So this is the NARS Dominate blush, and I'm going to use this Too Faced Cloud Crush blurring blush in the shade Candy Clouds. For the blush, I applied the Dominate blush first. Because of the shape, you can be a bit more precise with it. So I went into this and just applied it here, so it was basically like a mid-tone blush. I'm starting off with the Too Faced Lip Injection Extreme Lip Shaper pencil. Then I'm going to go in with these two Too Faced lipsticks. I'm going to use Milkshake first because it's this pink colour, and then just to lighten it up a little bit, Buttercream. It's really light nude. Okay, I'm looking at the lips and they're looking a bit too purplish. I'm going to use this orange one instead. I really like this gloss. Like you can see, it's really sheer, but the way it sits on my lips, it's almost like it's water, and it makes my lips really glossy. I do feel like I need to deepen the blush, so I'm going to go back in with the NARS Exhibit A, just in this cheekbone area, because I feel like my face is just looking a bit ghastly. No, not ghastly, that's a really dramatic way to describe. So basically airbrush my skin. I'm going to use the Florasis Gorgeous Peach Blossom Powder and my True Girl Powder Puff. It just gives this crazy blurring effect. It is very white though, and you can literally see what I mean by it airbrushes my skin. Look how it adds like a filter almost. The weather in this country is so bad. The lighting in this video has been changing non-stop. It's dark, it's so dark right now. But at least my makeup looks nice. We're finished. I feel like something's missing though. Something is most definitely missing, but it's okay. Maybe it's because I haven't put on makeup for a couple of days. Now we're gonna set. So what I've been liking recently is MAC Prep and Prime. I really call it a MAC Prep and Prime. This is literally the Fix Plus. To melt my face and fan that dry. It just melts the skin. It's looking like butter now. The lighting is so bad, I'm so sorry. Now we're going to go in with the Urban Decay All Nighter because we want our face to stick. And don't be shy. Don't be shy, be a bit, in fact, be a bit generous when you spray this. Again, fan dry. And finally, I mean, we do look very glowy already, but just to top it off, the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. I've used almost half of this thing and I still don't know the name. And I keep it only here, literally only here. Oh, none of that touched my face. And it just gives this gorgeous dew. I find it to be too dewy in the middle of my face, so that's why I keep it to the perimeter. You know the drill. Fan it dry again. And finally, I promise this is the last step. To top it all off, I use this Kiko individual eyeshadow. This is the Smart Colour eyeshadow in the shade, I think it's 17. And this fluffy brush, and I just... here and here. Uh-oh. No, that's done something I don't want it to do. So I'm just going to use this powder puff to blend it out a little bit. I think I used a bit too much, but basically just tap it in there lightly and go in with the areas where you want that brightness. It's got like a pink undertone to it as well, so it will really brighten without making you look too yellow. And this is the finished look. This makeup look, are you kidding? This will match literally anything you wear. I'm sorry. And if you're wearing pink, you can literally just keep the gold. I will always keep the gold. Gold is my go-to. But I would just put like a pink glitter or pink shimmer on top, just to add, you know, just to tie it in. Oh, look at my lips. Ew. What is wrong with my lips? What is that? What is that? Have I put too much like setting spray on or something? That's disgusting. Anyway, but yeah guys, that's the end of my video. Thank you very much for watching. Please do follow me on TikTok, on Instagram. That's where I post all of my content. The vast majority of my content is on TikTok. Bye.